Hi folks, it's Marvin Music with MedicareSchool.com, and we want to welcome you to our event tonight that we're going to discuss really briefly a topic about supplemental plans, and then we're going to get into taking your questions tonight. And so if you'd like to go ahead and start typing those in, you can get in line, and I promise you we'll stick around just as long as we possibly can and field as many of those questions, and hope we provide some very productive, very substantial help this evening. We would love to know where you're joining us from, what part of the country, city, state, and if you happen to be our client as well, we always like to know that. But we are thrilled that you have made this a part of your evening. I do want to mention just briefly before I would forget this, and that is that if you happen to be in a situation where you need immediate help, again, I'm happy to answer some questions, but if you'd like to talk to someone live, further beyond just what I'm doing right now, our switchboard is still open. We are Medicare brokers. We serve all 50 states and DC, so we can really help you with any and all plans, whether that's subs or advantage, drug plans, whatever your need is. Feel free to call in. Our 800 number is 800-864-8890. There may be a different number on your screen. You can call either one of those, but 800-864-8890. And we have agents that are live and would be able to talk with you if that's a need that you have. So we'd be delighted to help in that way as well. All right, so we're going to get started with our topic. The question that we're addressing is Plan G really worth the extra costs over Plan N? Now, for some of you, you may not even be familiar with as we talk about Plan G and Plan N. First off, we're talking about supplemental plans. Right now in the Medicare supplemental system, there's actually 10 different plan options. Those are all given a letter. This is a system that was designed by Medicare. That started back in 1965. We've had supplemental plans since then. I was 4 years old, so I would not have been aware of it back then, but I know they've been around the entire time that Medicare started. There have been supplemental plans. They have revamped those plans throughout the years, changing letters and different things, but today we have 10 of them. They are given letters. A little bit confusing because Medicare also has letters. As we talk about original Medicare, Medicare has 4 parts, A, B, C, and D. But when we talk about supplemental plans, they also have A, B, C, D, F, G, K, L, M, and N. Those are the 10 letters available today. And what this simply means is Medicare standardizes supplemental plans to let you, the consumer, know what plans are available, and then Medicare has already predetermined the coverage with each of those letters. They standardize them. That means they determine what bills will be paid, what bills will not be paid, and how much of the bills are going to be paid. So each of those letters represent a different amount of coverage, a different type of coverage when you get a supplemental plan. And so when someone gets a supplemental plan, regardless of the letter that they buy, they're making the decision to stay in the original Medicare system. It's also referred to as traditional Medicare. And again, that's the system that started in 1965. But when someone stays in that system, it means they're falling under the umbrella of the Medicare rules, guidelines that come with original Medicare. And there is, as far as coverage, Medicare covers very well. But as far as cost is concerned, Medicare doesn't cover anything 100% other than preventive services. That's it. And so if we get any service beyond preventive, then we're going to have some type of a balance of the bill. We call that balance a gap in coverage. Medicare covered, but it didn't cover it 100%, so the remaining balance is the gap. And so to kind of summarize it, to keep it simple, is this. There are actually 3 gaps on the A of Medicare, and there's 3 gaps on the B of Medicare. The A of Medicare is the inpatient side, covering hospitalizations, covering skilled nursing facilities, as well as hospice care. The B side of Medicare is called medical. It's the outpatient side of Medicare, but also it's the place where doctors are covered. A does not cover doctors. A covers facilities, but B covers the doctors that take care of you in the hospital, or surgeons, or primary care doctors, or specialists. So it's always the B side that takes care of the doctor fees. B also covers durable medical equipment. and everything related to any kind of an outpatient type of a service. So we have A and B, again, 3 financial gaps on the A and 3 financial gaps on the B. So when someone gets a Medicare supplemental plan, what they're doing is they're paying a premium to an insurance company to cover some or all, really, of those gaps that remain in original Medicare. Now, when I say all, there actually is one plan right now that does cover all, and that's called the F plan. But the issue is with the F plan is, in order to qualify to buy an F plan, you had to start Medicare before 1/1/2020. If you started before 1/1/2020, you could still get an F plan. From a practical standpoint, I wouldn't do that. In my opinion, they're not a very good value today, but you could still get it. But those starting Medicare after 1/1/2020, F plan is no longer an option, and so the top 2 plans that people buy today are G and N. 70% of all people getting SUPs are buying G plans, 30% are buying N plans. And so the difference is coverage would be this. Your G plan covers 5 of the 6 Medicare gaps. It covers all the gaps on the A of Medicare, and it covers 2 of the 3 gaps on the B side. So the one gap that the Plan G does not cover would be the Medicare B deductible. This year, 2024, that's $240. It's a calendar year deductible. It's not prorated. So if someone started Medicare this month, the month of September, their deductible this year would still be $240. If they started in December, it's still $240. They don't prorate it. And then what happens is we satisfy that deductible on the G plan, and then after that, everything else is covered. So as long as you're seeing a Medicare provider and you're getting a service that Medicare will cover, the only out-of-pocket expense someone has on a G plan would be that B deductible, and then that B deductible resets every January. So you would have to pay that again in 2025. Once you've met it, again, full coverage. And so for people that are looking for the most comprehensive coverage they can get today, if they're starting Medicare after 1/1/2020, it would be the G plan. The second most comprehensive plan then would be the N plan. Now the way N works, again, it's a different letter, so we have a different type of amount of coverage. It covers 4 of the 6 Medicare gaps. 4 of the 6. It will not cover the B deductible, just like the G didn't, and it will not cover excess charges if and when those occur. Now, let me explain excess charges. That is a charge that only doctors can add, and this is when a doctor still sees Medicare patients, but it is not under a contract where they're obligated to take the Medicare reimbursement rates as payment in full, meaning they can add to the bill. And again, this does not happen often. Less than 5% of doctors do this. Some will, for sure, it happens, but not often. But those that will add excess are limited to adding 15% to the Medicare bill. But when it happens and you had an N plan, you would have to pay the excess charges. All right, again, it's rare, but if it does happen, you pay it. G would cover excess, N does not. So really a person has to decide, is the additional premium that you will pay on the G worth you having excess charges covered? And honestly, some say yes, it is. Why? They know that they may incur that. Others say, no, I'm not really going to worry about that if there's really a low risk involved. Now, the other thing that N differs from a G, and that is that with N, you have 2 co-payments that you're subject to pay all the time, and that would be whenever you see a doctor, that would be a primary care doctor or a specialist, you're subject to up to a $20 copay. Now, the copay could be $18, it could be $12, but it will not be $25 because it's subject to a copay up to $20. So anytime you see a doctor, a specialist, or whatever, you're subject to that copay. And then when you go to the emergency room, you're subject to a $50 copay. Unless you're admitted to the hospital, then they will waive it. And so the point is the G and the N have a little bit different coverage. G covers 5 of 6 gaps. N covers 4 of 6, plus you have these 2 very reasonable copays. Now, on average, the difference between the premiums of these 2 plans is about $35 to $40 a month. And I said on average. There are some states where it's significantly more than that. And people that are in some of those states, New York would be one, Florida would be another, where the N and the G has a much greater difference. A lot of those people go ahead and go with an N plan because they want to save those premium dollars. In states where it's only $35 to $40, people may say, no, I'm not worried about the $35 or $40 a month. I would just soon have the most comprehensive coverage, and then typically a person in that thinking would then get a G plan. But I want you to know this. I think both are wonderful. I don't think you're making a bad decision either way. Now, I'm 63. I'll be 60. I'm 64 this January, so I got another year to go. I would tell you, with my personal situation, I would go with the G plan. The $35 to $40 where I live, that's the difference, is not going to make or break me at all, and so I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. One day I may go to a doctor that would charge excess, or maybe that whole system would change in the future. We don't know. Right now, it doesn't happen often, but that could change in our lifetime. So again, the $35 to $40, though I'm not minimizing that savings, it would probably, my thinking, I would probably go ahead and go with a G. But if you say, no, I'd rather save the money, I'm not concerned about it, then that too is a fine decision. All right, so you have to decide whether it's worth it or not. And again, those of you that live in states where there's a bigger difference, maybe $75 to $100 more, if I lived there, then I probably would go ahead and take the N plan. All right, so again, you can't make a bad decision. I love supplemental plans. There are times when people, though, cannot afford a supplemental plan, and that's when I would tell them, let's find the very best Advantage plan that we can get. And the reason I really prefer and like supplemental plans is because I like being in a plan, and this would be the G or the N, where you have no network issues. Advantage plans have network issues, limitations on providers and hospitals and doctors. With a supplemental plan, G or N, you can go to any doctor or hospital that's going to take Medicare, and almost all of them do. So I like that option. The second thing I like about supplemental plans is I never have to deal with an insurance company interfering, because they cannot place a pre-authorization requirement on you as Advantage plans do. Advantage plans have mandatory pre-authorizations on CAT scans and extended skilled nursing stays, knee replacements, hip replacements, a variety of services that have to be approved by the insurance company. Now, the likelihood of them approving it is very high, but sometimes they delay it or they deny it, and so that can be very frustrating. So people that don't want to experience any pre-authorization issues will go with the supplemental plan, and that's my thing. That's what I would do. And then I like the fact that supplemental plans, G or N, will be permanent. You don't have to worry about ever losing them unless you don't pay your premium. As long as we pay our premium, we have that G plan or N plan or whatever you select for the rest of your life. It can never be canceled by the insurance company except for non-payment. So you pay your premium, it's your plan. Regardless of age, regardless of claims. So if you're real sick, I hope you're not, but if you were and you had a lot of claims, they can't cancel because of that. And they can't cancel because you move. It's a portable plan. So if you live right now, I'm in Overland Park, Kansas. I actually live on the Missouri side in Kansas City, but if I move from this area and I say I retire and I go to Tucson, Arizona, I take my supplemental plan with me. If I move to Tampa, Florida or someplace, but I take the policy with you because, again, it's a permanent plan. And not so with Advantage plans. They're 1 year at a time, and they're not portable. And so the point is, when you make a decision to get an insurance plan, whether that's a supplemental plan or Advantage plan, just know there are terms and conditions with those plans that you're going to have to be satisfied with. Now, I'll close with this. I know in this business that the great majority, not all, but the great majority of agents today push Advantage plans. And there's only one reason for it primarily, and that is because they pay us more money. Now, there are times when it is the best option. It really is, because of people's budget. They just cannot afford a supplemental plan. They can't. So that's a good reason to take an Advantage plan. But agents push them, and they don't always present all the facts about them, and that's what really is frustrating to me. I think that we owe it to you, the consumer, to be honest about the advantages of the Advantage plan, but also the disadvantages. Agents oftentimes don't talk about that because they receive a higher commission on Advantage plans. And then I'll be done with this. I just want to make sure you know that if you do decide one day to get an Advantage plan, once you've been on that plan for a year plus and you ever want to get off of it, in every state but 5, you have to actually medically qualify to go back to traditional Medicare and get a supplemental plan, G or N or whatever one you wanted. So you have to realize that if your health were to change, sometimes people cannot get out of the Advantage system. And so that can be very frustrating and very disappointing. All right, so is it worth to get the G? For me, it would be, depending on where you are and your budget and what you're comfortable with as far as risk is concerned. You may decide that savings on the end would be a good move. So either way, I think is a great decision. All right, let's start taking your questions now. I'll try to take as many as I can, as many as we can get to during our time together. All right, this question is, how do I know whether excess Medicare fees are charged prior to a visit or at the time of a visit? Does it have to be provided online, posting the office, disclosed to me in writing? Well, it doesn't have to be disclosed to you in writing, but what happens is you should ask the provider, do you charge excess? They're not going to lie about that. They're going to be very honest with you. And I would suspect that the few that do charge excess today are going to disclose that anyways, even if you didn't ask. But it still would be on you to ask the question. And you could ask a question like this: are you a participating doctor or not, or are you a doctor that takes assignment? That's some of the terminology that's used. Okay, so I definitely would ask. I have Plan G through United Health. It is a good plan. However, the premium keeps going up. Excuse me. Are there other companies that their premiums are not as high but still is very good insurance? Well, all the insurance companies are going to raise their premiums. I will tell you that we have seen more kind of drastic increases this last year than ever before. I've been in the business 15 years, and these are some of the highest ones. And the reason for that, because during COVID, a lot of people are not getting the services that they really needed. They were deferring those just because of the risk of being in the hospital. So now we're seeing more people, going back and getting their operations and different things that are necessary. And so there's been a much higher use of the plans. And so really this whole correction that we're seeing right now is really the result of people going back. Morbidity is higher, more disease and more illnesses that were actually, people weren't getting proper care. So that's why we see that. So we do think it's going to be a little bit more stable moving forward. So your question about healthcare, we have found them to be long-term one of the most stable carriers. Now, there could be a carrier that could be possibly a lower premium initially, but over time is what we look at, the stability of the rates. And so to answer your question, there could be somebody in your area, call in and we can certainly look those up. What we're looking for is a carrier that has proven to be stable. And that's typically a carrier that has a large market share. So if you want to shop it, you always want to make sure that, in my opinion, you're dealing with a carrier that's more of a national carrier versus a regional carrier. Regional carrier is smaller, they don't have as much of a market share, and if that group that you're in has more health problems, I think you'll see drastic increases with those smaller groups. But call us, be happy to shop your area and tell you what's available, and then talk about the stability of the rates among the carriers. All right, can I switch from Medigap Plan F to a Medicare Advantage plan and then invoke the Medicare Advantage trial right to switch back to original Medicare and get a Medigap Plan G without underwriting? Okay, no. So if you're on a Medigap Plan F right now, that means you, more than likely, you could have been on disability, but you definitely started Medicare before 1/1/2020. So if you exercise the right to move to a Medicare Advantage plan, if you've never done that before, so it's your first move into Medicare Advantage, you've never had it before, then you would have a trial right. That's 12 months, but the rules are on that trial right. If you were to get off the Advantage within that year, you have to go back to the same carrier and the same plan that you were on prior to making that move to the Advantage. So you cannot do what you're suggesting there, moving to a Plan G. Now, if someone started with a Plan G and they moved to Advantage, then yes, they could come back to a G. That would be their trial right guaranteed issue. But you couldn't go from F to G without underwriting. All right, it's a good idea to laminate your Medicare card once you receive it. I think it is. They tell us not to do so with Social Security, but I definitely would laminate my Medicare card. All right, Steve from Cumberland, Rhode Island, had a great first call yesterday with Ken Tarmelin. Hey, he is a great guy. Good call. We go on Medicare. Yeah, he is a real pro. I mean, he knows his business well, and we're privileged to have him as one of our Medicare agents. Thank you, Steve. All right, well, certain prescriptions not qualify for the $2,000 max out of pocket in 2025. Okay, and so first off, the $2,000 has to do with self-administered medications. If these cancer meds, if they're self-administered, then they would qualify. The key is it has to be in formulary. So if it's non-formulary, it's not going to be included in the spending cap. So as long as it's covered by your plan in formulary, then it will be a part of the $2,000. That $2,000 includes the deductible and your 25% coinsurance that you're paying in phase 2. So expensive cancer meds, if they are covered, the answer is yes. Now, If those meds you're taking are administered professionally, meaning in an outpatient type of facility or in a doctor's office, then those are going to be covered by Medicare Part B. And so that 2,000 spending cap does not apply to that. Now, if you had a supplemental plan, your Medicare is going to pay 80% of those meds, and then your supplemental plan, if you have a G, is going to cover the full 20% anyway. So there are ways to get those covered. So self-administered meds are part of the 2,000. Okay, how do you plan Medicare if you expect to move a few months after your 65th birthday? Southern Cal is too expensive. Do you plan as if you're not moving and then work out the change later for the new state? Well, okay, so here's the way I would do that, David. And again, this isn't hard and fast, but when I know someone's going to move, if we have that new address, so you're in California, let's just say you're going to move to Texas. If you have an address in Texas, then what I would do is I would set everything up as though that's where you're going to be, because you know you're going there. And again, if you don't have an address, then it would be fine to go ahead and set everything up in California. Your plan, your supplemental plan is going to move with you, and with most carriers, it's going to be re-rated anyways. So that rate could go up, it could go down. So those are portable plans, so you're fine with that. Your drug plan would definitely have to be rewritten once you leave a service area, move to another one, then that's going to have to change. But again, if you have that address, that makes it very simple. I've been in this situation hundreds of times before with clients, and we go with that new address. It'll be fine. Now, your cards are going to go there, so you have to make sure you can get mail, or you can get someone to make sure you get, pick up the mail there. But that certainly is the easiest. Okay, my premium went up due to an IRMA from my 2020 tag, but my income dropped substantially in 2023. When can I expect premium to go back down? I submitted. Okay, very good. So what's going to happen? Your income from 2022 affected this year's premium because in 2024 they look back at 2022. So as they recalculate your Part B premiums for 2025, they will look at 2023. So it's going to automatically adjust because Part B premiums and IRMAs are recalculated every year, always looking back 2 years. Now, sounds like to me you submitted your SS-44 and you actually appealed your IRMA, which was smart. So more than likely you're gonna win that appeal if you gave them your 2023 or 2024 information. So everything you've done sounds like you've done the right thing. Okay, so you'll see that go down for 2025 for sure. All right, why is underwriting necessary if I start with N and move to G? I'm in Washington State on Whidbey Island. I've had a prelim call with your staff 4 to 6 months. Okay, here's why. The state of Washington is a state where 12 months out of the year, you have the right to change supplemental plans, but that move has to be like to like or like to less. So if you're on an N plan, you can move to another N plan, or you can move to some other plan that has less coverage, but you can't improve your coverage without underwriting. So that's the reason. All the states now, Washington has 12 months. Most of the states, you can make this kind of a move around your birthday. Many times you can move carriers. Some states you can. Illinois, Louisiana, you can't. But my point is, when they allow you to move without underwriting, it's always like plan to like plan or like plan to a lesser plan. And that just makes sense. Insurance companies, they don't want to take on additional liability that they're not required to. So that's the purpose of that. Now, by the way, if you live in New York, Connecticut, or Vermont, I think you would be able to make that move. Those states have a little bit more consumer-friendly rules, but everywhere else, like to less. All right, do you help those of us who are customers find the best prescription drug plans each year? Okay, so if you are a client of ours, what we do, Larry, I'll say it this way, we facilitate that. We have our own system. Now, I will tell you this year, because of all the disruption in the Medicare plans, what we're doing is we've asked all of our clients to give us all their information by the 21st of October, and we actually select a plan for them and shop that based upon the plans that we write. So we are doing that this year just because of all the big changes. But if there weren't big changes, what would be happening is we facilitate through our websites, we send out reminders, we do videos telling you how to do it, but you do have to play a part in that. It's just the economics of that. I hate it that's that way. I wish we could do everything. But again, we do help some, probably more than most agents will, but it's not a full-blown, full-service process other than this year will be, as long as we have you by the 21st. Okay, Daniel. All right, how much does Medicare G cover for cataract surgery. Okay, well, if let's just say that your first claim of the year is for your cataract surgery, that G would cover everything but the B deductible. So again, if you have met your B deductible, then that G plan will cover cataract surgery 100%. Now keep this in mind when it comes to cataract surgery. Medicare only covers your basic lenses. So if you do an upgrade on the lens, the kind of the fancier lens, that's what I did. I have a nicer lens. That would be out of pocket. Medicare covers basic lenses. All the cost involved is the 80%. Your G plan would pay the 20% less the deductible. And then Medicare will pay for a new pair of glasses after cataract surgery. So wonderful coverage by Medicare and your Plan G. I will call you in December. I turn 65 in March 20. That's good timing. And Carol, we'd love to help you. And I promise you we'll do our very best to talk about all your options and get you enrolled in the right plan, the one you select. So thank you very much. We look forward to that. Okay, when you say date starting Medicare, what date do we use? The date we started Medicare A only or the date we added Medicare B? Okay, so when I talk about, she's talking about the OEP? Okay, Medigap. Okay, very good. I just want to make sure I was understanding this correctly. Okay, so what matters with the Medigap OEP, that 6-month window where you qualify for any Medicare supplemental plan, of course, based on your birthday, that's available in your area, any plan, any company, that is tied to your B date. A date doesn't matter, B date matters. So let's say that someone had an A date 2 years ago. Let's say it was 9/1 of 2022, but they're going on Medicare B this month, 9/1/2024. That's the open enrollment period that lasts 6 months. It's of the B date. So in that example, we would count all of September, October, November, December, January, February. So from September, October, November, December, January, February. So all the way through the end of February, that 6-month window, they can apply for a Medigap policy with no underwriting. It would be a guaranteed issue policy. The company has to approve it, has to cover all your pre-existing conditions, and can ask you no health questions whatsoever. All right, hi, I'm from Long Valley, New Jersey. Not on Medicare yet, but next year I take a very expensive biologic medication. How can I make sure it's still covered on Medicare? Well, the way I would do that is I would go into Medicare.gov, that website. You can go into ours as well, but Medicare.gov would be fine. And you can put in your zip code, and it'll pull up some drug plan options, and you'll be able to type in that medication to see if indeed it's covered. And I know there are some biologics that are covered, but that would be the way to find out. Another way you could find out is if you just had you could maybe Google it or just go to the manufacturer's website and see if it is covered by Medicare Part D or B. I'm assuming it would probably be, if it is covered, it's going to be covered by D because you self-administer that plan. But you can ask the manufacturer, you can Google that possibly, or go on a website, Medicare.gov, and find out if it's covered now. Okay, or continuous budget, and the answer is yes on that. They are now. I think there are certain criteria for those. So what I would do, the manufacturer, whoever that is, just put the manufacturer in and find out if that particular one is covered. I know they cover that, but I don't want to say a blanket statement they cover all of them, because that's probably not the case. But it would be covered as a durable medical equipment coverage under Medicare Part B. Okay, I've been on Medicare disability. What happens when I turn 65? Will I still be covered? Yes, actually, Janet, you're in a wonderful position because, of course, you have the disability. Therefore, your A and B started on the 25th month of having received your disability check. So what's going to happen now, you're going to go into what we call in our business OEP2. OEP2. And that's and it's like you have this, or IEP2. You have this situation where now you can restart the clock, and you can do that on your 65th birth month, 3 months before, month over, 3 months after. So you have that 7-month window where you're in this IEP2, and you can do whatever you want. You can get a different Medicare supplemental plan. Again, there'll be no underwriting, and also a lot of states today, when people do have supplemental plans and they're on disability, their rate is substantially higher. Now, not all states allow that, but some do. So if you happen to be in a state where you have a higher rate because of disability, now you can reapply for a new Medicare supplemental plan based upon 65, and that rate could come down. Now, some states, you're on disability, you can't even get a MedSup plan. You have to get a Medicare Advantage. So now that you're turning 65, regardless of where you live, all 50 states will let you get a Medicare supplemental plan with no underwriting. So it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity so that disability is really not held against you any longer. You get to reset the clock. And so if you'd like us to help do that, we'd be delighted to walk you through those options. Okay, are G plan premiums increases regulated by law? No, they are. The price increases do have to be approved by the state insurance commissioner's office. I wouldn't say they're regulated, but they do have to be approved. Or can the insurance companies raise rates yearly as they see fit? Are rate increases historical amounts listed somewhere so I can determine the best company? Well, I don't know that you have access to that information. I'm not aware of it. We do, and we'd be delighted to share that with you. We actually subscribe to a service so we can look at all the carriers and their rate increases in the last 10 years. So we're happy to share that with you, but I don't think you can get that on your own. But as far as rate increases go, they can't raise them as they see fit. There are three different ways in which rates are established. And every state's a little different. Some states require a certain rating standard, and others leave it up to the insurance company. But those are attained, issue age, and community rated. Attained, issue age, and community rated. Now, the difference is this. When it comes to issue age and community rated, those plans go up, but they only go up when there's a group increase. So the whole group has to go up, which means that the insurance company is losing money. So they petition the insurance commissioner for a rate increase to basically get back to even. They don't have to lose money. So that's issue age and community rated group increases. Attained age policies, which is the norm throughout the country, they raise a little bit every year when you've attained another age. So usually on the policy anniversary date, you'll see a slight increase for age. And it's usually not much, maybe $4 or $5 a month or something. And then they also can take group increases. But the whole idea behind attained age policies is by allowing the insurance carrier to make these little slight increases every year because of birthday, that should make the group increases less amounts, less drastic. And so that's kind of the philosophy. And a lot of people ask me, well, what's the best? And there is no best, folks. What really matters, of course, your state insurance commissioners already decide anyways, but what matters as far as rate stability is the size of the group. Now, those of you that are in community-rated states, yours start a little bit higher, and they're usually not quite as stable because everybody gets the same rate regardless of age, regardless of gender, all that. And so they tend to be a little bit higher. There's not that many community-rated states. But again, they all go up, and those group increases have to be approved by the state insurance commissioner. Okay, my husband turned 65 in May 26. Can he retire in January and carry a company COBRA without any problems getting Medicare in May? And he can do COBRA for sure. His COBRA eligibility in that situation with the normal termination will last 18 months. He doesn't need that long, so he can retire in January. And then if his birthday is May 2nd to the end of the month, he can start his Medicare May 1. COBRA is not a problem prior to Medicare. Where COBRA becomes a problem with Medicare is when people are Medicare eligible and they stay on COBRA only. That's a problem because COBRA only pays second to Medicare. And I've seen this happen lots of times in my career. People are on COBRA a lot of times because it's part of the severance package and it's paid for by the company for a period of time. And they roll into Medicare eligibility at 65, but they have this COBRA that didn't cost them anything, so they don't go on Medicare. And then what happens with that is they have a large claim. Now they didn't enroll in Medicare, so the COBRA plan only pays second once you're Medicare eligible. So if you didn't enroll in Medicare and you have COBRA, then you're the first payer. In your situation, that's not going to happen because you're going to start Medicare in May. And that's smart. So your COBRA will be fine coverage for those 4 months. No problem at all. All right, I'm urging both of my brothers and sister-in-law to contact Medicare School for advice. You guys are great. Hey, thank you for the encouragement. I appreciate that, and I hope they come our way as well. We'll take good care of them. All right, the 20 copay for doctor specialist 50, is it for Plan G or N? I missed to understand. No, that's only on Plan N. Plan N doesn't cover the B deductible. doesn't cover excess charges if and when they occur, not often, so that didn't happen much. And then you're subject to a copay up to $20 on the in plan and up to $50 if you go to the emergency room. But again, you save, $35, $40 or more in monthly premium, and some people, that's why they go with the in plan for the premium savings. How do you choose between G or the Blue Cross plan you can take a supplement from state employment? Well, I would just do a price comparison. So look at the premium that is just offered in the normal marketplace. We could give you those premiums and then compare that to what the premium will be with the state. And I will tell you probably more times than not, just the normal market plans offer a better premium than what these employer-provided plans. Again, there's exceptions, but as a general rule, your market's better because you're going to have larger groups. Now, sometimes an employer may be subsidizing a premium, and that would be different. So just compare the two, and you go with what you're most comfortable with. Which of the 5 states allow changes without complicated procedures from Advantage to Standard Medicare? Okay, here's the way it works. It's quite easy in New York and Connecticut and Vermont. Those states for sure. I'm thinking Vermont may have one of them may have a certain like a couple months where you can do it. Maine, I think that's only during the month of June. So, but then you can only get a Medigap A. So I don't think it's a very good option. But I clarified the 5 states. Let me say it again: New York, Connecticut, Vermont, Maine, and Massachusetts. Maine is not really that attractive, honestly, when it comes to that right. But you could get off an Advantage and go to a Plan A in Maine with no underwriting. The problem with the Plan A is it only covers minimal gaps, only 2 of the 6 Medicare gaps. I've never even sold an A plan my whole life, so I don't think that's going to be a good option. And then Massachusetts, they're a waiver state. They have their own plans, and they're going to have some lookalikes, lookalike G, lookalike N, so I think you should be fine there as well. So let's boil it down to those states would be New York, Connecticut, Vermont, and then Massachusetts. I think you should be fine. Everywhere else, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to medically qualify if you've been on your Advantage plan for anything over a year, sometimes even less than a year. Okay. I heard Medicare doesn't cover physicals, but I can get one medical wellness appointment during the first year. This is true. Yes. Yeah, Medicare is really, folks, great insurance, but it doesn't cover your standard physical that you and I would be accustomed to getting on a work plan. When you go in your very first year on Medicare, you qualify for what's called a Welcome to Medicare visit. And it's definitely not a thorough physical. It's better than just an annual checkup. They will take blood pressure, height, weight, ask you a health history, and provide a few services. So basically, what they're doing is getting all their records up to date now that you're on Medicare. So that visit is good for the first 12 months on Medicare. There's a code for it, and after 12 months, that code expires. So then you get these wellness visits, which again is just really an update. They're going to ask you a few health questions. But during that visit, if the doctor is concerned about something, then the doctor will order tests or some kind of procedure, and then that would be more of a diagnostic type of coding and covered well by Medicare. Okay, but preventive is not as strong for sure as your group plan would have been at work. Is there somewhere to find the medical question for change from Advantage to Standard A and B? Okay, well, now listen, to move from Medicare Advantage to Standard A and B, there's no health qualifications there. If you're on Advantage plan, you actually have 2 times a year that they make it possible for you to return to original Medicare. So there's no health qualifications to get back to A and B. But because A and B has the financial gaps, most people, when they make that move, are going to want to get a supplemental plan, and then that's what I think you're talking about. What are those health questions? And just call our office, and one of the agents will walk you through those. There's about 25 or 30. I actually just shot a video today that'll be up here in the next couple of weeks, and I actually read through all those questions so that people would know. But again, they're going to ask you a lot of, that's 25 or 30 questions. So call in, and we'll go through those with you and see if you can make the move back to original Medicare and qualify for that supplemental plan. Okay, do Plan G and N impact one's insurance they have via their state retirement? No, but if you have health insurance through your state retirement and it's an attractive policy, I wouldn't get a G or N plan. In other words, if you have a plan through the state that's a good secondary plan, you like the premium, you like the coverage, then just have A and B and use your state insurance as secondary. Now, if it's not attractive, the rates are not good, and you're not happy with the coverage, then I would drop the state health insurance and just take a traditional MedSup plan or a Medicare Advantage plan. Do I need to re-enroll into dental and pharmacy plan each year? Okay, well, first off, no on the dental side. Of course, those dental plans that we write for Medicare recipients are called standalone dental plans. They're not a part of Medicare. They're just plans that focus on people that are 65 and above. So you can get a dental plan, and those plans automatically renew. Sometimes the premiums adjust up, but they're usually fairly stable plans. Now, when it comes to pharmacy plans, those you don't necessarily have to change every year, but you should always check to make sure you're on the right drug plan, because Medicare gives the drug plans the right to change anything they want on their drug plan. In fact, it gives them the right to drop the plan if they want to. We're going to see a lot of that in 2025. They just pull the plan out of the market. It's not even available. And so what you want to do every year during this time, October 15th to December 7th, is make sure that you're on the right drug plan. Drug plans are good for 1 year, January 1 to December 31, but we have to switch them October 15th to December 7th, so we're on a new plan for January 1. So you want to take the time every year to check your meds, check the formulary, the premium, and the different changes. The companies always notify you right around September 15th, October 1 about what their new plan is going to look like for 2025. They may pull the plan, they can improve the plan, decrease the plan, change the premium, anything they want. So then you got to go back to the drawing board and make sure you're still on the right drug plan year to year to year. Just like Advantage plans, same thing. They change year to year to year. When is it possible to change the provider if I'm with Aetna Plan G and want to move to United? Same Plan G was advisable to do. Okay, so I guess, Daniel, she's not talking about like a doctor provider. She means the supplemental company. Okay, very good. I just want to make sure when you say provider, when I say providers, I usually mean doctors and hospitals. Okay, so when's it possible? Anytime. Medicare supplemental plans are not tied to the open enrollment season at all. So you can change a Medigap policy anytime you want. Of course, you probably have to qualify to do it, but the sooner the better, because if you're healthy enough to do it, make that switch. You don't have to wait on anything. Medicare open enrollment season, October 15th to December 7th, is for Advantage plans and drug plans. So supplemental plans, change them anytime. Does the 2,000 max include premiums or just the drugs? It does not include the premium, just the medications, your deductible and your copays in phase 2. So the premium would be above and beyond that. All right, can I get Plan G if I'm 55 and disabled? I can get A and B October and then have to go. Okay, just depends. Oh, you live in Puerto Rico. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that you are not going to be able to do that. If you want to call in, we could check on that for you. But I don't think that in Puerto Rico they're required to write underage, which means below 65, supplemental plans. In fact, the federal guidelines for sure they don't have to. Okay, so federal guidelines are insurance companies are not obligated to write supplemental plans, any of them, for people that are coming into Medicare because of disability below 65. There are several states, I think there's 15 or 20 states that do require the insurance companies to offer supplemental plans for those below 65. Some states allow the carrier to charge more money. Others say they got to be at the same rate at 65, so you'll see a little bit of a variance there. But I don't think Puerto Rico, I don't think you can get that G plan. But call in, we'll see. I have Medicare and TRICARE for life. Would you recommend getting a MA Patriot plan also? Bill, TRICARE will, okay. So TRICARE for life, for those of you that may not be familiar, this is someone that is retired military. Their insurance is called TRICARE. When they're Medicare eligible, you go on A and B, and then TRICARE becomes TRICARE for life, and it pays second to Medicare. Now, Stephanie, to answer your question, I think Patriot plans are nice. Okay. Now, number one, any Patriot plan that you would enroll into, certainly you want to make sure it's a PPO. Your TRICARE will coordinate benefits with that Advantage plan. So the Advantage plan is going to pay first, and then the Patriot plan is going to pay second. So the key for you is this: once you're on a Patriot plan, when you go to a doctor or went to the hospital, don't give them your A and B card. You want to give them your Medicare Advantage card, that Patriot plan or whatever you have, your Medicare Advantage card, and then your TRICARE card. And you should have nothing out of pocket. If they were to make you pay a copay, TRICARE will reimburse you. But what will happen, they'll file that claim with the Medicare Advantage, and then the balance of that bill then will go to TRICARE, and they should pick up the balance. Now, the reason that many people that are on TRICARE do this is because they like the perks offered by the Advantage plan, and sometimes those Advantage plans also will give you a reduction for your Part B premium. We've had some this year as much as $150 a month. So you enroll in that, then you'll get your Social Security check increases, so they actually will reduce your Part B premium. I don't know if that's going to happen in 2025 or not, but that's one reason people do it. Lastly on this, I do like this option, Stephanie, because you're not bound for life forever. Because remember, we said if someone only has an Advantage plan to get off of it and return back to original Medicare and get a supplemental plan, they have to medically qualify. Not so with you. If you decide you don't like that Patriot plan, you want to get out of the Medicare Advantage system, you can go back to traditional Medicare and just have your TRICARE for life insurance. So it's not a lifelong decision for you as it could be for some that don't have TRICARE. Because you don't have to medically qualify to go back. You just simply let TRICARE know you dropped the Advantage plan, and now they'll pay second to A and B instead of second to the Advantage plan. All right, can you explain the difference between issue age-based, community-based, and attained age-based? Sure. Aaron, here's the way it works. These pricing, or I should say premium rating systems are usually determined by the insurance commissioner of the state. Some states require that all the insurance carriers that offer supplemental plans do community rating. Others will say you have to do issue age. Others will say they will leave it up to the insurance company. Okay, so that's the three. Now here's what happens. Issue age means that your initial premium is based upon the age you are when you apply and they issue the policy. Could be 65, could be 72. So that's the only time that your age matters on an issue age policy, is it's based upon your age when you get the policy set up. Then after that, your premium will never go up because of age. Now, it's going to go up because there's going to be group increases. That company eventually will spend more money in claims than they do get in premiums, and therefore they will still petition for a rate increase, but that'll be a group increase. Community means, regardless of your age or gender, everyone gets the same price. So the 80-year-old person pays the same as the 65-year-old person. So that means the 65-year-old person is really paying more because that's going to be an average price. So the whole community gets the same price. Now, I think they can charge more if you're a tobacco user, but other than that, everyone gets the same price. And again, same thing. Those companies are going to take group increases whenever more money goes out through claims and is coming in through premiums. They will go to the state commissioner, ask for a rate increase. So that's community. Attained age means that when you initially come in, you will pay a premium based upon your age at when the policy starts, 65, 69, so very much like issue age. So your premium is set at the age you are when it starts. And then 1 year later, at the effective date of the policy, anniversary date, you're a year older, so it's going to go up a little bit. And again, that's usually about $40 or $50 for the whole year divided by 12, so about $4 a month. And then what happens is everybody in the group has these little slight increases, which means that money goes into that block so that when there is a time for a group increase, it should be less drastic, less frequency. So that's called the attained age policies. And I don't have one or the other. I mean, I'd prefer not to have community rated because the 65-year-old has to pay so much for the policy. But between issue age and attained age, in my opinion, it really doesn't matter because they're all going up. And the attained age policies always start lower than the issue age. Issue age can't raise a little bit every year. Attained age will. So I probably, if I had my preference, I'd probably just go with the attained age policy. But what you're going to find in our business is there's some companies only write issue age. So of course they're going to say that's the greatest and best, and that's just not true. It isn't. They're all going to go up. What matters is the market share that company has in that area, because the more policyholders in that group, the more stable the rates are going to be. I use a silly illustration, but it's true. And that is that if I'm out in the ocean and I'm in a canoe and the waves start, coming, I'm going to feel every single wave that hits my canoe. If I'm in that same ocean, but I'm in a cruise ship and the waves come, probably don't even know I'm even in the ocean. I'm not going to feel that, right? And so what happens when you get into a small group, you're in a canoe and you're going to feel the impact of health problems going on in that group. But when you're in a large group, a national carrier that has a greater market share, then you're not going to feel the pain as much of those health problems. They're all going up, but some go up more frequently and more drastically. So I'm looking for a stable company with a large group. All right. In Texas, looks like my Advantage plan will not be available next year. Does that mean I just have to go with another vendor? I'm considering a supplemental plan, but have no RX and only use it for vision. Okay. Well, here's the way Don's going to work. If your plan is no longer available, you should be able to get a guaranteed issue supplemental plan, meaning no underwriting. Okay, that should happen. Because when an Advantage plan drops, it goes, out of business, not out of business, or it's no longer available in your area, then you should have a guaranteed issue right. Now, if you started Medicare before 1/1/2020, that guaranteed issue right would be a Plan F. If you started Medicare after 1/1/2020, that guaranteed issue would be a G plan. Okay. Now, if you don't take any meds and you still like this vision benefit, then you just find a different Advantage plan. That would be fine to do so. And again, there's no underwriting to get those. You just find the one that's going to be the best best fit for you. And again, call in. We'd love to help you with that. I think Texas is one of our top 3 states in the country that we write business. And so very, very familiar with the market in Texas and can make some good recommendations for you. All right, I have an F plan. Is it wise to stay with it? It's through Anthem Blue Cross. Well, Michael, here's my opinion. If you can qualify to get off the F plan and move to a G or an N, that's what I would do. And here's the reason. Because that F plan that you're in, especially since it's Anthem Blue Cross, I guarantee you that thing is going to keep shrinking and shrinking. Because that population is getting older and they switch plans and people pass away. And so I would say if you're really looking for good stable rates, if you can medically qualify, I would be switching that to a G or an N. And call us and we'll take care of it for you if you'd like. All right, are all D plans pretty comparable? Do you help us find a good D plan as well? Well, they're somewhat comparable because they're all covering the majority of the diseases. The difference would be really, though, the formulary, because you may have a plan that has a low premium, and it may not cover as many brand name medications as one that has a little bit of higher premium. So depending upon the medications you take, that's what I would look at. The premium, doesn't really matter to me. The premium's not the issue. What matters is the formulary. If you take medications, you just want to make sure that your medications are covered. So we don't worry about the premium. Now, if you don't take any meds or very few meds, then premium matters. I'd just be looking for a low-cost plan. Because remember, all of them have a $2,000 spending cap. But if you're not going to get there, then I would just look for something that has a good formulary to cover the meds I'm taking at the very best premium, because you can change them annually anyways. Okay, I have no prescription this time. Can I get a Plan D later, or do you need to get a plan when you get Plan G? Okay, well, Rich, Part D plans are definitely voluntary. You're not forced to get a D plan. But here's what happens. If you don't get one, here's the way it works. Once you're eligible, let's say you're coming in off at 65. If you do not get a drug plan within 3 months of your 65th birth month, every month thereafter, they start assessing penalties. If you're above 65 and you're covered by a group plan, you must enroll in a drug plan within 63 days of losing your group plan. So again, 2 or 3 months. So if I don't get a drug plan during that time, what happens is every month I go without, now I'm going to be assessed a penalty. Now the penalty's not much. It's basically about 40 cents per month. It keeps growing. So it's about, let's say if I go without a full year, that'd be 12 months times 40 cents. It'd be $4.80 a month that I would add to my drug plan once I went on. So 1% per month for every month we went without, and they total all the months up, multiply times 40 cents, and then that's your monthly penalty for the rest of your life. So if you went without for 1 year, you're going to have $5 a month added to whatever drug plan you have for the rest of your life. If you go without 2 years, it'd be $10. So I would get a drug plan because there would be some available, even if you take no meds, that are very low cost. Number two, I would get a drug plan because, yeah, you're not taking meds right now, or yours may be cheap, but that could change. You could get diagnosed with cancer and need self-administered chemotherapy pills that cost $7,000 a month. And that drug plan that you enrolled to that costs $20 a month has a cap of $2,000. So the biggest risk of not getting a drug plan is if you need something and it's expensive, you'll kick yourself for not getting a drug plan because of that cap. So get a drug plan. The penalties are minimal. The biggest risk is needing an expensive med and having no drug plan because you can't add those when you want to. You can only add those once a year, October 15th to December 7th. You can get it when you go on Medicare, but after that, you can only add during the annual enrollment period. Too risky, so get a drug plan. All right, I have a Free2Me Aetna 70/30 plan paid for by my previous employer, basically because with this plan I received Medicare approved drug plan. I also have a Medicare G plan. Am I over-insured? Okay. Well, first off, 70/30 plan. So I guess you're saying your coinsurance is 30%. It's free. I don't know. If it were me, I would. If I don't know for sure what a 70/30 plan is. I'm assuming 70% company pays and you pay 30%. I wouldn't want 30% exposure, especially if you had cancer or had a surgery, because it sounds like to me you're exposed for 30% of that. I'm sure there's a max out of pocket on it. So I don't know enough, Deborah. I don't know. I mean, it's no cost. Are you overinsured? With the G plan, you only have to meet the B deductible once a year. That's a tough one. The only problem, Deborah, is this. If you drop that G plan and you only have this Aetna 70/30, if you ever want to get a G plan in the future or an N plan, now you're going to have to medically qualify to do that. So that would definitely be concerning to me. So I'm sorry. I can't give you a definitive answer. Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. Okay, thanks so much. I've been watching for years, feel educated enough to make this critical financial decision for the rest of my life. Well, hey, appreciate the encouragement. And I guess you probably watched this on YouTube. Those of you that maybe don't know this, we have a YouTube channel. In fact, I'm in our studio right now with our producer, and we try to put out 1 or 2 new videos every week. Sometimes we're 2, sometimes we're 1, but we love to do them and educate the public and tell others about us, if you will, because they can learn a lot on our channel and others that are out there. Okay, thank you for the encouragement. Okay, 2 months from 65, I want ABN and lowest D. I don't have any issues with prescription. Why do I need an agent? You don't have to have an agent. You can actually go to a carrier direct. But I would tell you this, if you do that, you mean nothing to them. If you go right to the carrier, whoever it is, you're one of millions with them. And so if you use a broker like us or somebody who really cares about you, then when you have a problem, a claim problem or any kind of an issue, then you'll be glad you have somebody on your side. I will tell you that most reputable brokers like us, we have our own customer service team. So you can utilize our services. There's no cost for us. So if you do go directly to carrier, you haven't saved any money. You just became one of many of a number. You go to the broker, we receive a commission, but the price to you is all the same. You don't pay extra. And we bring a lot of service to the table, knowledge and help and all that kind of thing. So I think there's great advantages of having someone assist you if they know what they're doing. And they have a customer service department. I think you'd be happy if you made a decision like that. We'd love to help you. Let's keep going. Okay, sorry if you've answered this. I chose plan G. Effective date July 27, turned 65. So can I change my choice of plans at this point without medical questions? And the answer is yes, you can, because you're still in your Medigap OEP. So July 1, so all of July, August, September, October, November, December. So you're in your Medigap OEP all the way through December 31. So the latest you'd ever want to change with no medical underwriting would be the month of December for a new plan that goes effective January 1. So yes, you can. You're still fine to do it. Can I get both N and G? No. And you wouldn't want both at all. So no reason to at all. If you want the most coverage, get a G plan. And that's what I would do. Are N plans open to anyone, or is it age restricted? Have to be born prior to 1954? No. In fact, there's nothing that has to do with 1954 other than some of the old Social Security rules. And so they're open to anyone that is new to Medicare. Now, if you were already on Medicare prior to 1/1/2020 and you're losing a group plan from work or something, then you could not get an in plan. So in that way, they'd be age restricted. You could get one as long as you can go through underwriting. So anyone that goes through underwriting, get into in. Anyone that's new to Medicare and starting at 65 or just retired, they can get an in plan. But if you started Medicare prior to 1/1/2020, that would be the one exception. If you had a guaranteed issue, you would have to get an F plan. F plan. Okay. There are two premiums if I purchase a supplemental plan, Part B premium plus 7. That's exactly right. So your A is usually 0. Part A is 0 for Medicare A. Part B is a premium this year, $174.70, unless you're high income, $174.70 a month. And then your supplemental plan will also have a premium. That is correct. And you're paying that premium because you're transferring the liability of the gaps, most of them, to the insurance companies. So that's why you pay that premium. You're getting something out of it. All right, can I get an annual physical once a year on an in plan? No, you can't. You can get a wellness visit by Original Medicare, and they'll cover that 100%, but your in plan, remember, supplemental plans follow Medicare. So Medicare covers that wellness visit once a year, and it's not going to be a physical. Now, if doc finds something wrong with you and doctor wants to order labs or some other kind of testing, then Medicare A and B pays, and then your in is going to follow, other than the B deductible and excess charges. Okay, thank you so much for all your help answering questions. I love this company. Well, thank you, Audrey. We appreciate the encouragement and opportunity to be able to serve people. I'm telling 65 next year. How early do I apply for Medicare? Well, I don't know what month you turn, Gary or Jerry, but 3 months before your 65th birth month is the earliest that you can apply. Now, if your birthday's on the 1st, then you actually would, let's say my birthday was July 1, I'd start Medicare in June, so it'd be 3 months before that. But if your birthday's on the second day through the end of the month, you can apply 3 months before. Now, keep in mind, if you're on Social Security, they'll automatically enroll you in A and B. They'll mail you your card about 100 days prior to your 65th birth month. But if you self-apply, you self-enroll, then that's 3 months before. All right, I'm a client. Josiah signed myself and my 90-year-old mom up for the perfect plans in San Diego. Well, that's great. Josiah is my fifth born child. I have 7 children, 5 biological children, 2 that were adopted from Uganda. So Josiah is my fifth born. In fact, Josiah is getting married in a week from this Saturday. I used to be a pastor, so I'm actually going to do the service, and I'm looking forward to that. But Josiah is... he's sharp and works hard as can be. Okay, I'm a client. Here we go. Any changes to Medicare Advantage 2025 and drug plan? Oh, boy. Yeah, Martin, lots of changes. In fact, if you're on one, if you don't know about your changes, then you should already know. You have an ANOC. It's an acronym for Annual Notice of Change. I would call the Advantage company and tell them you're looking for your ANOC, and they'll mail you that. But there are lots of changes. In fact, anywhere from 10 to 20% of the plans are dropped entirely. Many of the plans are doing what we call crosswalk. They change the plan, not so drastically where it's gone, but they're changing you, moving you to a different plan. So you need to pay attention. We're going to see a lot of the additional benefits, the perks we call them, they're reducing for sure. Some of the plans are going to have deductibles now on the medical side. Some plans that were 0 are going to have a premium. There's a lot of changes, so you need to pay attention to that, and especially the embedded drug plans. Make sure your meds are still in formulary. And again, call us. We'll help you through all that. We know what change occurred across the board, and we can figure out what's best for you in your area. All right, is Medicare shaky like I keep hearing? A lot of political fear mongering out there saying the money isn't there. Also, they say it about Social Security. Well, I think that there can definitely be some improvements to Medicare, but Medicare's not going away at all. As far as it being shaky, I think that what's shaky right now within the Medicare world will be your Advantage plans, just because their funding was not as much as they were hoping. that caused them to drop plans. A lot of the companies this year, they're focused on profits instead of building their customer base. In the past, they've just always wanted to build, but now they're starting to have high medical loss ratios, so that's why we're seeing a lot of plans being dropped. So as far as shakiness going on, it's not traditional Medicare, it'd be Advantage plans, and then there's shakiness going on within the drug plans. When the government imposed this $2,000 cap and placed that financial liability on the insurance companies, that changed everything. In fact, honestly, you all, it's great for people that take a lot of expensive meds, but it's not great for anybody else because drug premiums are up now. The government ended up because they realized that they honestly just made a bad mistake with this cap. What's happening now is it's going to cost us another $10 billion by the government. They increased the subsidies to all the drug plan companies because so many of them were going to bail out of the program and raise the rates crazy. So that $2,000 cap only helped people that are on expensive meds, and I'm glad for that. But as far as across the board help, it did not help things. Again, it just did not. Okay, I have a Plan A and B Advantage and live in Virginia, but next year I'll be moving to California. Will I be able to use it there or will it change? No, you will not take your Virginia Advantage plan with you to California. You'll have to get a new plan when you move, and it's not a big deal. Here's the way it works. You can get a plan 30 days before the move, or once you move, you can get a plan within 60 days after the move date. So you got this 90-day window. It's called an SEP, Special Enrollment Period, where you can get a new plan in California. And also, just so you know, if you get off Advantage and move like this kind of a move, Virginia, California, you would qualify for some supplemental plans in California with no underwriting if you wanted to do that. You would have that right as well. All right, I have FHB, chose medical only Advantage plan. Would pre-authorized be required? If denied, would FHB also deny? Okay, well that's, Teresa, here's the way I think. I am pretty sure that when you enrolled in an MA-only plan, and by the way, I think those are fine options. Okay, so I don't think you made a bad move here. But the Advantage plan is the first payer, so you would have the pre-authorization rules that you would have to be subject to. So that's for sure. And then if denied, would FHB also not? And I think so, because I think FHB says they will coordinate with an MA-only plan, but if the Advantage plan didn't cover, I'm not sure FEHB would either. Okay, and you probably need to clarify that because I'm not 100% sure about that. Now, the good thing, Teresa, about your situation is if you do have an MA-only plan, you only suspended your FEHB benefits. So during the Medicare Open Enrollment Period, if you're not happy with that decision, you can reinstate your FEHB benefits. Just go through OPM, and you can drop the Advantage and return back to A and B with your FEHB, Blue Cross Blue Shield or GEHA, whoever you have. Okay, but I am pretty sure that FEHB makes you follow the Medicare Advantage guidelines. They will coordinate with benefits as long as Medicare Advantage played first. I don't think they're going to pay first if Advantage did not. I'm pretty sure of that. Okay, thanks, Marvin, for the awesome education. And thank you for sending people our way. We appreciate it very much. In regards to Young Health versus that, any thoughts on who has the best customer service? Not really. You all, we have, multiple thousands and thousands of people in both of those plans, and I don't think there's any difference. Now, you could call in one day and get somebody that didn't care about you or, didn't provide a good service with either one of those companies, but I think both of them are really trying their best to provide good service. One of the frustrating things for me with all the carriers now is so much of the customer service is handled overseas in international call centers. You're going to the Philippines or India or China somewhere, and that's frustrating. And I don't fault those people in those countries for trying to make a living and provide for their family, but I need the insurance companies who make billions of dollars, they try to save money in customer service by doing that. So I don't like that. That's why we as a company have our own customer service team. Our folks don't have to go overseas. Come right in the home office here and we'll take care of you. But anyways, so to answer your question, I don't think there's really any big difference between both those companies. They're good. But again, customer service usually farmed out overseas. Okay, would history of cancer play a role in future underwriting decisions? Healthier every year since? No, you'd be fine. Susan, usually cancer look back. The question is, have you been diagnosed with, been treated for, taken medication for any internal cancer? Sometimes they only look back 2 years, sometimes 3 years, but definitely 6 years should not play a role. As long as you're cancer-free, treatment-free, it's been that long, cancer will be a non-issue with you. You will get through underwriting. Unless you have something else going on, but the cancer is not going to be a problem for you. It's in the past. 65 November this year, still working full-time for a large hospital with many employees. Can I get ABD and an NRG and still use dental and vision from my employer? Yes, normally, yes. Because your group plans normally with the vision and the dental are separate. Sometimes they're combined, but 99% of the time they're separate. So just ask your HR people, if you were to come off the group plan, can you still keep dental and vision? And I would suspect they're going to tell you yes to that, okay? And if not, they'll let you know. But if you have a good group plan, I'm just not sure why you're going to do this, because usually hospitals have great group plans. And so maybe there's some other reason, but be sure. And by the way, a lot of people have terrible group plans, but usually hospitals have great insurance. So if it's not good, then do what you're saying, but make sure that you're making the right move here by saying no to the group plan. All right, when I woke up this morning, I knew nothing about Medicare. I watched your 1 hour intro video, and now listening to this, I feel, all right, well, good. Vivian, I'm glad that was helpful. And so keep watching the YouTube channel as well. I've got hundreds and hundreds of videos, and you can learn a lot. My privilege to help you. Can you see 6 points from reviewing supplemental plans each year? I can. The first thing, of course, premium. We know what your premium adjust to. The coverage is the same, folks. Medicare standardizes a plan. So what I would do, if you're our client, you can call in. We have what we call Tier 2 agents. And our MedSup clients call in, and then we have our Tier 2 agents shop those for you. We can tell you what's going on in the market, where the carriers are right now with the rates, and so that's it. Just look at the price, because a G is a G is a G is a G, and N is N is N. No matter who you go with, the coverage is going to be the same. So what you're looking for is a stable carrier and a good rate. So call us and let us work you through that. No problem. All right. All right, 62 over 65 in May. I understand I'll automatically be enrolled. When do I add in? Okay, very good. So your birthday's in May, so let's back up the clock. April, March, February. So what's going to happen, you're going to get your Medicare A and B card mailed to you during the month of January. It'll show up sometime in the middle of the month or so, maybe 15th to 20th of January, okay? And then at that point in time, when the card comes, if you want to use us or whoever you're going to use, just call us. And then that would be the perfect time to add it. Everything will go in effect May 1st, your Medicare as well as your supplemental plan and your drug plan. So we'd be delighted to help you with that process. So as soon as the card shows, give us a call. Some states we actually can write supplemental plan 6 months in advance. I wouldn't do that just right now because you need a drug plan as well. So the drug plans will be out and available to look at after October 15th. So you can call in advance if you want, or just wait till the Medicare card shows up, and that'll be your trigger to say, call Medicare School. Okay, I'm ready. Anybody else? Is the ANOC sent out automatically to everyone enrolled, or do I need to contact my plan? Okay, well, it is supposed to be sent out automatically, Mary. So if you don't have it, I would go ahead and just get your insurance card out, or cards, whatever you have, and call the number on customer service and let them know you have not received the ANOC. And they'll mail you a copy of it. I think most people are receiving them right now, or if you want to be patient for a couple more days. But if you don't have it by October 1st, by sometime next week, I definitely would be calling, because you want to get that in your possession. All right, thanks for all you do. So does she join me on my supplemental plan, or does she apply for her own? Okay, yeah, she will definitely not be on yours. She'll have to have her own. But depending upon the carrier that you have, there's two types of discounts. There's household discounts, and there's multi-policy discount. Household discount means that you live with someone, could be a spouse or a significant other, and when you do that, they give you a discount of anywhere from 5 to 10%. Multi-policy means that both of you are with the same carrier, And some of those are as high as 20% discount. So yours would go down, and hers would also be very attractive. So if you can, I'd go with the same carrier to get the largest discount that's possible. But she will have to have her own plan. Okay, what is the phone number of the agents in your office who we call for questions? I think there's one scrolling around here, but let me give you another one. You see it, it's scrolling there, 833-833-3661. We have actually 16-member switchboard team, you all, so we have 16 receptionists. So that's why we have a couple different 800 numbers. So you call this one, and any of them will work. And then tell them what you want, and they will direct you to the right department. All right, so I think that's going to be it. Hey, I want to thank you for being a part, and thank you for the encouragement. Those of you that said that you've learned a lot, and really anything that we can do, we'd be thrilled. And I do want to close with this. Our services cost you nothing. We will help you with everything from Medicare enrollments, A and B, SEP paperwork, IRMA appeals, everything you need we'll help you with, and there's no cost because the insurance companies pay us. All right, so we come free to you. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next Thursday. Tell your friends about us if you will. Take care.